Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I'm really excited to be joined by Will Smeed, and of course, he joins me all the way from Abu Dhabi. So we're doing this on opposite sides of the globe, kind of. How are you doing, Will? And how's it been so far in Abu Dhabi?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been nice out here. It's been nice weather, which makes a good change from England. And yeah, I've been loving it. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, how's the experience been? I guess being around people from lots of different, backgrounds as well, and nations and countries, and I'm assuming a lot of people with a lot of experience. Have you been feeding off them a little bit?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So there's obviously a lot of experience around our group and sort of a lot of cricket knowledge amongst them all, and sort of just been trying to learn as much as I can off them. And yeah, it's been good to see the group like gelling as we're spending a bit more time together as well, because obviously a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of lads hadn't met each other before, and yeah, we're all getting on really well, which is really good.
Yeah, so obviously you have been well. You've got a couple of Pakistani players in the team, and I've got a bit of a vested interest in that. So, how has it been playing alongside Mohamed Amrin, Shahid Afridi, and Faf du Plessis as well, who obviously is a hugely experienced player?
Yeah.
What's it been like, kind of, bouncing off those guys?
Well, Shahid Afridi's not actually here. He's not
Yeah,
playing. Amir's only just got out of isolation. And yeah, Faf's been awesome to watch. I remember just the first training session we had watching him, and yeah, he's obviously a player at the top of his game at the moment, and it was ridiculous to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I guess the T10 format's very like. How do you perceive it in comparison to the T10 format? Because it seems very fast paced, even more so. And I've seen some of the scores are like 140s,
Yeah.
160. T10 game is crazy.
I think chaos is a pretty good word to describe this tournament. Yeah, I mean, people are trying to hit every ball for six, and bowlers have got to try and figure out how to not get hit for six. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to get a gauge of how good someone really is here, because they can have their day and just swing at everything and it comes off the middle. But yeah, I mean, it was Gayle the other day was another one that was ridiculous to watch in that game against us. I don't think he middled a single one of his sixes, and they were still going miles, which, yeah, the power of some of the guys here is ridiculous, and it's been a proper eye-opener.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think Chris Gayle tends to be able to muscle the balls over the boundary for six, which I'm sure most of us can't do. What about Hazratullah Zazaid, the Afghani opener? He's lefty like you. I mean, have you picked up anything from him? He just seems to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, he smacks it. I'm a right-hander, so he's not like me. Yeah, he whacks it. He bats like it's very unique, but it obviously works for him. And he was doing some range hitting the other day and hitting the ball absolutely miles. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of power around this tournament, and yeah, he's obviously done well recently and is in decent nick. So hopefully he gets going one game and the ball could be disappearing out of the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry, the left hand right hand combination. Get my lefties and righties mixed up. What's your I guess journey into cricket for those who are not as familiar? You know, you're only 20 years of age, so still a long way to go yet. Just really at the start of your career and made a fantastic start so far. But you just tell people a little bit about how you got into the game and what piqued your interest, and then I guess a little bit about your early playing days growing up.
Yeah, so I started playing at school. Can't remember how old I was, but always enjoyed playing. I always enjoyed playing every sport when I was young. I tried to do as much as I could for as long as I could in terms of playing all different sports. Got onto the Somerset pathway when I was about 9, and then yeah, from there I've sort of taken the standard route through of EPP Academy and then signing my first contract. So yeah, it's been a pretty standard journey for me, and hopefully it sort of continues well from here. I mean, it's gone well so far, but this is only the beginning, to be honest. So, well, hopefully only the beginning of a long career.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. You've got plenty of years ahead of you. So, yeah, very much looking forward to seeing you in action. I'm sure for many years to come. growing up, I guess, then and through the academy, who were there any players that were inspirations at Somerset or other types of players as you're growing up? Who did you look to and potentially mold your game off, or not even mold your game off, but just think, you know what, they're really exciting to watch?
It was always fun watching. Keyswetter was there when I was younger. Butler, Gayle came over for a few games. Got 150 in one of them, which was ridiculous. Yeah, there've always been a lot of very good players at Somerset. Trez is another one. I got to see a bit of him when I was younger. Got to play with him actually once, sort of when he was coming to the end of his career. And yeah, I think Taunton's obviously quite a small ground, so you get to see a lot of the ball disappearing out of it when you're younger, which is always good to see, especially as a batter. But yeah, I think, and then on the academy, I was at school with Bance, so sort of got to see him do some ridiculous things at school and in age group cricket. So yeah, I've been lucky to see quite a lot of very good players.
No, yeah, sounds like a very, very well, good, I guess, experience coming to the academy, watching some of those explosive players, especially openers as well. So guys who clearly are wacky at the top and not just in the short format, but the longer formats as well. I know you batted and you mentioned with Marcus Roscovic in, I think it was, you said one innings, wasn't it? The second 11, the second
Yeah,
match when you were 16.
Yeah, it's about 4 years ago now.
Yeah. So both scored hundreds, if I'm not mistaken. Well, unless my sources are wrong. But yeah, how do you find it? How do you find it batting with him? Obviously, he's a Somerset legend and an England legend as well, to be fair as well. So, I mean, it must have been a surreal experience. And how do you find it? And what was he like at the other end? Giving you, was he giving you any advice?
It was just cool to see sort of how calm he was, and yeah, he was batting in his glasses by that point, and I remember they kept steaming up, so he just took them off and carried on batting, and I was just like, how is this guy doing this? Because it felt so quick for me. But yeah, that was a really cool experience. I actually struggled a lot at the start of that season, so it was nice when things started to turn around that year, and yeah, I was lucky to get an opportunity in the twos when I was pretty young, and obviously we had a really strong side that game. I think there were a load of pros playing, so that was sort of my first taste of playing around all the pros.
What, did he say to anything in terms of words of advice when you're batting, or was it just get on with it?
Not really. No, it was just he was pretty chilled out. Just have a little chat between overs, and that was about it. Nothing really sticks out in my memory from what he said. No,
nothing too outlandish. Yeah, so obviously you mentioned that you're a few years, if I'm not mistaken, below Tom Banton at the same school. How was, I guess, as you said, he's done some really good things. Obviously, he's made his England debut as well. And do you guys bounce off each other? Are you close? I mean, or is it you guys have that respect? And obviously, he's now done it. I'm assuming you're looking to replicate that as well, and get hopefully at some point get a taste of playing for England as well.
Yeah, no, we're really good mates, so it's always good seeing him do well. And yeah, like I said, when I was at school, I remember one game in the T20, we put on 200 and he got 150 something of them. It was ridiculous. And I guess sort of people that have been at the same school as you and been in the academy and stuff, when you see them do well, it sort of makes it seem closer, like more achievable. And yeah, it's really good motivation to actually put in the work when you're not at that level, when you're in the indoor school or whatever you're doing. It's sort of a motivator that could be you one day if things go your way and you put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty whirlwind year for you, right? As in this year, because you broke through in the 2021 blast for Somerset, and then got picked up in the in the 100 as well. You performed really well in the 100, like a couple of really good knocks, and I thought that was definitely would have helped, considering it was all on terrestrial TV as well, and obviously that it was the inaugural year for the tournament, so that would have been fantastic exposure, and it's probably from there you've got this gig now as well in Abu Dhabi. I mean, surely you're just thinking, more of the same, please, and just keep on performing, going out there, and then hopefully continuing to be seen, and I guess people picking you up as well.
Yeah, I've never been one to think about it too much, so sort of just take every game as it comes and try and do my best in that. But yeah, a lot of things went my way last year in terms of injuries at Somerset, meaning I got the chance to play there, and then injuries at 100, and yeah, a lot of things had to go my way, and I was very fortunate that it went the way it did, and hopefully I can sort of use that to my advantage and sort of carry on the way it's gone.
No, very level-headed.
Yeah, I started the season awfully, so if you'd said to me after the first half of the season that it would end how it did, I would have bitten your hand off.
No, it's good. No, you've been very humble and modest, but yeah, it's good. I like that. But yeah, look, I'll say it. I think you've obviously had a fantastic start, so hopefully you continue to go at that rate as well. So, and look, obviously you said there's a bit of fortune in place, but then you have to take the opportunity, and you've definitely taken it with both hands. So, kudos to you for sure. Obviously, the majority of the kind of spotlight on you has been in the shorter formats, T20 and LT10. What are you looking? What's your kind of aspirations going forward in terms of the longer formats?
I'm still going to put in the work in the nets, and hopefully that comes to fruition sooner rather than later. I spent the most of last winter working on my Red Bull stuff, and then I think I averaged about 9 in the second team. So hopefully this year goes a bit better. But I still have aspirations in all formats, and I think Somerset are very close to doing something special, especially in the Champo stuff, and I'm desperate to be a part of that. So yeah, hopefully if I put in the work and can put in a few performances at the start of the season, I can try and get my way into that team.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way of looking at it. And I guess in your position, so are you looking to open also in the longer formats as well? Or are you looking to bat lower down the order?
I don't think I'm technically good enough to open at the moment, so probably more middle order at the moment. But yeah, like I said, I'd sort of be happy to bet anywhere that I could and anywhere that I could do well, and whether that's opening or in the middle order, I don't really mind. I think, like I said, there's a lot of things technically I'd need to work on to consistently score runs opening. So yeah, I mean, I think just see what happens at the start of next year, and God knows where I'll end up batting, because I don't really know my game that well at the moment. I'm still sort of figuring that out and figuring out how I'm going to score runs against good bowling, because obviously when you're young, you get a lot of bad balls, but that changes fairly quickly as you go up the levels.
You look pretty good for someone who's just figuring it out still, so fair play. So in terms of, I guess, we're playing into that a little bit. I mean, next year, I'm assuming then for 2022, come the season, you're looking to, get a taste of the first class format, the list day stuff as well, right? Is that the goals, and then to also kick on from the T20 Blast as well and kind of improve on your performances last year?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I just try and score as many runs as I can in every game that I play in, or do the best for the team that I can in the games. And yeah, I'm fully aware of the fact that I'm going to have to sort of break my way into the first team. It's not going to be gifted to me, and that will come through scoring runs in the second. So hopefully I manage that. And yeah, fingers crossed that I can sort of improve on this year in the white ball stuff. There's a few things I want to work on over the winter, so hopefully I can put in the hours doing that, and then that will help sort of improve my game come the summer.
No, well said. Well said. I guess then from me as well, you're in Abu Dhabi at the moment, and it's quite a good scene, I imagine. I mean, I said, how's it been with the other players, etc. How have you found in terms of hospitality, and obviously the World Cup was just played there. Did you catch much of it?
I got to watch some of the games on TV back home, but I couldn't find it on anything when I was out here, so I didn't get to watch the final, which was a shame. But yeah, the crowd's been awesome. at the T10. It's not been too busy, but the guys that have been there have been enjoying it. And yeah, everyone's really enjoying it. It seems, sort of speaking to a few of the lads that have played in a lot of tournaments, this is one of their favourites, if not their favourite. So yeah, I'm sort of lucky to be here, and I'm definitely enjoying it.
No, it's good to hear. In terms of, I'm more going to veer off a little bit into a few more interesting questions, because I thought it's always good to get some little anecdotes. So at the T10, and you don't need to name any names, etc., as well if you don't want to. But what's the funniest thing that you've seen whilst being at the T10 so far, if anything?
Probably one of the bowlers lost his run up and brought out a tape measure mid over. That's probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen during a cricket game. So yeah, that would probably have to be it.
So he just had it on him, did he? The tape measure?
No, they had to run it out from the dugout. Obviously, they had to check with the umpires if it was okay, and the umpire was a bit like, "What is going on?" But yeah, that was sort of a strange sight and one I haven't seen before.
That is bizarre. That is hilarious. That is. I have definitely never seen that either. So interesting. Did he manage to sort out after? No balls after?
He wasn't bowling no balls. He was just bowling from about 25 yards. So yeah, he managed to get closer to the stumps after that.
Crazy. And in terms of, from your point of view, I asked you about, who your inspirations growing up, but who is your favorite cricketer and why?
It was probably AB to watch. I think sort of everyone says that. Just like the things he would do and the shots he would play, and yeah, how consistently he managed to do it always just shocked me. And he's obviously one of the greats, so yeah, it would have to be him. And then at Somerset, probably Gayle for the 2 games he played when he hit about 26s in a game.
Oh, Gayle, yeah, the Gayle storm. And then in terms of, I think, I've said it about your favorite cricketer, but at the moment, as a batsman, who are you looking at and thinking they're the man in terms of an all format batsman?
No one really sticks out. None that I can think of sort of as all formats just dominating everything at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure I watch enough cricket to know that either. I'm not really someone that sort of spends all hours of the day thinking and watching and doing cricket. So yeah, I probably don't know enough to answer that question.
That's interesting. It's funny actually. I was going to ask you that. So because a lot of people, if they're in the profession, if they're, whatever sport it is, whether it's cricket or boxing or tennis, whatever, like you, they sometimes don't. They're not super invested in watching it outside because it's their time to switch off. And I've listened to an interview recently with Marcus Stoinis, and he said that he doesn't really watch any cricket at all, kind of outside of the kind of technical stuff they do, analysis wise. So you're the same then, you just kind of switch off. What do you do in your downtime on the PS4, or what are you doing?
I used to play a fair bit of Xbox, but I haven't for ages. Sort of the uni work, if I have any that I need to do, and trying to see my mates as much as I can, because obviously they're all off at university now. So spent a fair bit of time in the car driving up to see them all in sort of October when we had the month off. And yeah, in the summer, I guess, just keeping myself busy, nothing in particular, just trying to keep my mind away from cricket when I don't need to be thinking about it.
That's fair. I didn't know you at university. What are you doing there?
So I'm doing a course at the Open University. I'm doing economics and maths.
Very good.
Yeah, that
I did maths and finance. So yeah.
Yeah, similar.
If you need any tips, let me know. I probably don't remember any of it. Probably don't remember a single thing, but feel free to reach out. I think that's really cool actually, doing it alongside your cricket as well. So it's good. You must be what, second year?
First, well, they do it differently. It's sort of like stages. So I'm in the first stage at the moment.
Cool.
But hopefully cricket goes well and I can spend 10 years doing it, so I don't have to cram it. But yeah, I sort of want to make sure that I have options outside of cricket if needs be. If I don't score a run for 2 years, or if I get injured, or whatever happens, I just want to make sure that don't end up stuck. So yeah,
it's a very sensible thing to say. Very, very sensible. And in terms of as someone who has been playing a lot recently, though, what would you attribute, as you are a maths and economics guy now, so I can ask you this, in terms of percentage, what do you give as a percentage to the mental side of things? So if you say there's two factors, obviously very basic way of thinking about it, but your mental side and your physical, like obviously training, working on the game, etc. When you go out to bat, how much do you think is reliant on your mental side?
Pretty much all of it. I think if your mind's clear and you're confident, things seem to go your way and you seem to hit the ball better. And if your mind's scrambled, then it can be awful. Like mine at the start of the season was all over the place and started to think I was the worst player in the world and couldn't score a run. So yeah, it's amazing how quickly things change. But I think once you reach a certain level as well, it's just obviously people have their talent or their techniques or sort of the work they've put in the nets. But I think if you can stay calm and clear in what you're doing, then that has a massive impact.
So around 90%?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. There's a lot of it then, it sounds like. And I
think it's different for red and white ball as well. I think red ball's a lot more technical and sort of white ball, some people just stand there and whack it. So they're turning into two very different games.
It's very true. I guess that's why we see the big split, don't we? And there's not as many players, I think, nowadays crossing over between formats internationally anyway. So it's probably why, because they're becoming so different in their, I guess, approach, which is quite interesting. And I guess it sounds like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong as well, but I've talked to a lot of other players where they say that a lot of the time, even at the top level, it's all about knowing your strengths and weaknesses and to say, okay, this isn't really a shot like, I don't know, for example, if you say the late cut's not really my shot, I'll keep that in the locker. I'm not going to bring that out. I'll keep that in my tool bag. I won't bring it out. But I know that I drive really well through the offside. So those are my strengths. So I'm going to try and utilize my strength. Like I've got cover drive, whatever, pull, and whatever else it might be, straight drive on the ground, say in the white ball game. And you say, okay, well, I'm going to try and stick to those shots and utilize them as much as possible. And everything else, I kind of just leave it. Is it a little bit like that as well? Even because a lot of the times at club level, at grassroots level, I feel like people with limited technique can get away with that as well. And because it's more, even then, it's more mental side, I feel like. But at your level, is it similar as well?
Well, I think it comes back to what I was saying about sort of learning my game and my strengths and weaknesses. I'm still learning that, and I think the best players are very clear in what their strengths are. And I guess the more you play at good levels, the quicker you'll figure that out. So hopefully I can figure that out as quick as I can and then sort of reap the rewards of knowing my game well. I think speaking to someone like Mo in the 100 it was very obvious that he was very clear in what his strengths were, and he stuck to that, and it's obviously worked for him over however many years he's been playing now. So yeah, I think that comes with experience, but it's sort of invaluable.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Moeen because he's my favorite player. So now I'm going to pester you to get him on the channel. Sorry, apologies.
He's a lot of people's favorite player.
Yeah, he's in my top 3 sports people to have on the channel, and I cover 3 different sports. It probably says a lot. Yeah, and I've had like Hayden Walsh Jr. for West Indies on and others, so international players on. So he's definitely up there. He's definitely probably my most sought out. So I'll get there someday. In terms of from your point of view, then. How do you see you saw some of the T20 World Cup? Were you surprised at the result? I mean, obviously, You know, being English, Australians winning
Yeah.
was quite surprising. What did you think of it all?
Well, like I said, my cricket knowledge isn't actually amazing, so I think the favourites going into it are probably England and Pakistan from the way the results were going. But obviously, T20, especially, anything can happen. And yeah, Australia pulled out the bag at the right time, so fair play to them.
Yeah, agreed. Very diplomatic answer. Like, I hate Australia. Oh, they got lucky. They just won 6 out of 7 tosses. It's all that toss. Yeah, no, agreed. And you talked a little bit about the 100 and 180. What was it like being part of that inaugural tournament? Because it was, there's a lot of different views on it. It was pretty. I think it's probably safe to say it was pretty divisive when it was first announced. It seemed to be quite a big success, I think, in the end. And I talked to Benny about it, Benny Howe, and he loved it. He said that the analysis that people were doing, he loves his analytics, and so I said to him, that it seems like there's a lot more kind of matchups and analytics, for example, going on in the 100, and it seemed a lot more, I guess, forward thinking in terms of progressive wise. Did you find that as well? And how do you find the whole format and the kind of difference that it brought?
I think the tournament was a massive success, and everyone that was in it loved it. It was my first taste of playing in front of big crowds and stuff, so I absolutely loved it. And yeah, in terms of the analytics, I think the way our team sort of was structured, it was based on a lot of data and facts and stuff, but I'm not sure if that was the case across every team. I think it's important to get a good mix of data and then cricket knowledge and just watching the game. So I think the most successful teams probably find that balance pretty well. But yeah, any info you wanted on any player is now available to you, and I think that's not just in the 100. That's pretty much everything you're playing in now. So it's important to not become too one-dimensional, because I think people figure you out pretty quickly now. So yeah, you have to keep working on your game and trying to improve and trying to stay ahead of sort of the analysis that the opposition team's analyst has done on you.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And in terms of talking about the analysis, etc., who's the hardest bowler you've had to face so far that you found the most tricky?
It's probably Craig Overton in the final.
Okay.
Obviously wouldn't normally face him because he's at Somerset, but yeah, it just felt like I couldn't hit him. It's probably quite a weird answer, but
no, it's
honestly, I just felt like I couldn't get him off the square, so it would have to be him.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you probably faced him the nets a fair few times, and you're probably at the time you're probably like, "Why can't I get him off the square? It's weird." Must have bowled a blinder. To be fair, I'm sure he did. Yeah, just to finish up on then, because I don't want to keep you too long. I know, as we said, you need to get your food in you as well. It's quite late there, so as I said, I don't want to contest with a hangry Will Smeed. In terms of, I guess, the rest of this tournament as well and going forward as well, I'm assuming you're really open to playing in other franchise tournaments. For example, the obvious ones, the IPL, the PSL, BBL, etc., and kind of gaining more experience on different surfaces and conditions as well. I mean, that can only be good for your game, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think if anything came my way, I wouldn't turn it down. But I think, honestly, at the moment, I haven't done enough to warrant playing in any of those tournaments. And I think this winter's probably going to look like going back to Taunton after this comp and putting in some hard work in the indoor school, and then hopefully the English summer goes well for me, and then next winter might look different or it might look the same. And you never know with cricket, things change so quickly. So yeah, I wouldn't say no to anything, but I think that's still a way off realistically.
No, that's fair enough. Is there anything that you want to touch upon before we wrap up?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, he's only got food, his thoughts, I'm sure. What are you having? Anything good?
I don't know. It's a buffet, so we'll see what's there, hopefully. It's been good so far, so I'm sure it'll be lovely.
Okay. Very good. What kind of food are we talking?
All sorts. There's curry if you want curry. There's steak, fish, pasta.
Wow.
There's literally everything. They're
Fill
looking
your
after
boots.
us well.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'll fill your boots, and yeah, thanks, Will, for being on. I do appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully we'll catch up again soon. And as I said, I'm sure I'll be pesting you at some point. But good luck for the rest of the tournament and also for the off season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you not just in this tournament as well, but in the rest for the rest of the season. Oh well, sorry, for the start of the season, even next year at Somerset. And I'm sure you'll be very much a talking point because during the 100, you definitely were. You definitely were. No, seriously, like you were. As just a fan as someone who's watching it, you were a talking point as someone who broken through, and you definitely took the opportunity. So fair play to you and all the best going forward.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all.